We have in the studio an old pal. I consider him an old pal. He's a good guy and he knows his stuff, and we always have a great conversation. Richard Miller's here. And so is John Cooper too. He's
Nice.
nice.
Good segue there. 2 and 1. Did you notice that, Richard?
Richard Miller is in for Lance, and John Cooper's here for all of us because he's on the lookout for all of us with that great big shiny new expanded convention center and all things tourism. John, good morning. How you doing?
Good morning.
Good to see you in person and seeing your face. That's awesome.
It's good to be back.
Yeah.
I was just here a month ago.
I know, but it seems like a month ago. Just saying. It's just good. It's good that you're here.
Yes.
There was a little article the other day in the paper about visitors and spending in Yakima County down in 2020, and we looked at that and went, duh. I guess we kind of figured that. But so what do you guys do? You're kind of in the numbers game. Numbers tells the story in terms of visitors and all that kind of stuff. So does this give you new targets? Do you go back to where we were pre? Did we write COVID off the books? 2020 doesn't count, or what do we do?
Well, it's interesting. Yeah, we did lose about 25% of our visitors. I mean, the data for the full year in all the sectors are just now in, statewide as well as county by county. And while we lost 25% of our visitors, and it went down to about 1.9 million, as I looked at the various categories of our county and statewide, our rate of loss, everybody lost because
Sure.
COVID devastated the travel and tourism industry.
Sure.
No other sector got hit as hard, as long as the travel hospitality industry. But as I looked at the state data versus ours, our rate of loss was a few percentage points and even more when it came to job losses, taxes lost, as well as visitor spending and the number of visitors from the state. So we didn't do as bad as the state averages, but still 25% loss is not going to be easy to overcome. It's going to take some time to regain that and get back to 2019 figures. But of course, our goal is to exceed 2019 figures, so we're looking at that. The good news is that as more restrictions are lifted and states reach the various vaccination levels, there's more confidence and comfort in people traveling. And AAA and the U.S. Travel Association projected that on Memorial Day weekend, which is always a kind of a barometer of what travel could be or will be, they saw that the number of people traveling on the road and flying and otherwise, about 37 million, which is 60% more than last year. I mean, obviously it's going to be more because virtually not much was happening last Memorial Day weekend, but still about 15% less of a normal Memorial Day weekend. So if we look at that as a barometer, we're going to make some gains, start making gains back to where we were before. But it's still going to take time, and we're still not completely out of the pandemic. We don't know how things can twist and turn, and travel is one of those things that can be easily affected by things that are happening in the marketplace as well as public health. So we're encouraged, and we're going to continue to reach out to people. Over half of those people who travel over Memorial Day weekend are driving. And so, and a lot of us are recognizing this is going to be a drive year. There's going to be a lot of people doing the road trips.
Do we think gas prices will impact that then?
Well, I think it'll help us because one of the things that I've seen and read about is a lot of American travelers are looking at doing the infamous bucket list on their trip. They want to go see things and do things they haven't in the past. And national parks and various natural areas are on their radar. Well, our location, when you look at the western U.S., there's a lot of national parks within a 5 to 8 hour drive of us. And that puts us in that routing for a number of those people coming from states all over.
Yeah.
So that's exciting for us to look at. It's just kind of daunting to figure out how you reach those people as they're on the road. But when you look at the interstate maps and they're looking at making some ground, I-82 comes right through Yakima.
Maybe a radio commercial that would play in their car that they could hear on KIT saying, "Welcome, stranger. We welcome you to our fine area." What about, how about the in-state stuff? Do the West Siders uh, fear of COVID going to prevent them from coming over to this rabble-rousing east side, or
No, I don't think so. But all the data is showing, there's a couple companies that are doing weekly surveys of American travelers, people who have a propensity to travel. There's a number of Americans who just don't travel. But they survey the ones that have an interest or do travel. And they're ready. The state of readiness to travel is over 80% now. And something like 75, 77% have at least one or two trips planned for this summer, and others throughout the rest of the year. But there is still a certain level, whether it be on the west side or any of our visitor markets, of wanting destinations to still take safety precautions. They want to make sure that the hotels are doing everything they can to keep them clean. They want to make sure that their public transportation systems, people are doing the right things, and everybody's being safe. And but they're on the road. So I definitely, we would be attractive. Where it's going to be difficult, I think, are going to be those magnet attractions like the Olympic Peninsula and the Olympic National Park, San Juan's. I think they're going to see a crush of people, and I think others will start looking for places that aren't as crowded. Hello, and I think we're going to be in a pretty good position to capture those people, because one of the things, while we're known as a wine and craft beer destination, we're growing in our recognition for our outdoor adventure, with being on the backside of Rainier, with the trails that we have, with the rivers that we have, hunting, hiking, etc. That's raising in profile for us as a destination, and that gives us a competitive edge, because the Tri-Cities doesn't have access to as much of that activity as we do. While they have river activities, they don't have the mountains right next door. And as Lance would say, exceptional snow in the wintertime.
Exactly. I was just reading and made a post the other day about a couple of the national parks in the country that are reservation only. They're so overcrowded. Yosemite was one, and the nation's most visited national parks in Smoky Mountains and some of those areas that are near big population centers are really taking a hit. I think even the Olympic National Forest, the national park there, was number 8 or 9 on the list of most popular. Yeah. So you're right. They already get a lot of folks, and they could get even more.
And the sad thing is, when you say they're getting hit not only with volume, but also people who aren't used to traveling or to going out in the outdoors. They're unprepared. And there's big messes out there on those trails and the parking lots and such. The search and rescues are having to rescue people who are just not ready for the elements.
Yeah.
They feel they need to get out in the outdoors. And that's important for us to continue to educate any travelers to know what conditions you're going into, because it's not like a Disneyland park. These are wild parks. Yeah. There's some danger involved in being out there, hypothermia or what have you. You just got to be paying attention to and be prepared. Now, you mentioned the convention center. As folks know, we opened the expansion a few weeks back, and we have our first multi-day convention coming in this week. And it's really appropriate because it's the State First Responders Conference coming on the 10th and the 11th.
Great.
And this is a conference specifically for all the folks involved in first response activities. And so it's a great opportunity to recognize those people, because it's been a tough year for them.
Yeah. If anybody deserves the perks of a convention and a nice new facility, it's those guys. So that's fantastic.
Yeah,
that's really
we're
good.
Excited to host them. And there's about 100 folks. Many of them are local, but there's a number that will be coming from around the state. So it's nice to start seeing the conventions coming back. We got a lot of other day use coming into the building. Rotary's having their lunches each week, and a number of other activities. Next week, the retreat for the Washington Tourism Alliance Board is coming. So the statewide tourism organization is going to have their retreat in the convention center. So things are looking up, but it's going to take longer for conventions and indoor meetings to come back, because they're planned so far in advance.
Sure.
And a number of the groups are still kind of wanting to make sure everything's stabilized enough to schedule a convention, invite the people, get the exhibitors, et cetera. So, but we'll see that really picking up starting in the fall.
Excellent. Well, that's good. It's the kind of news we would expect, that we're in the process of returning to normal. We're not there yet, but we're in the process, and that brings hope, and hope keeps us going, right?
It does indeed. It does
John
indeed.
Cooper, thanks very much for your time this morning. Good to see you. Anything else you want to add?
Uh,
What about your summer travel plans? You going anywhere
Actually,
unique and
just came
exciting?
back from a trip, and
Where
I
were
can
you?
attest to the travel levels. My wife and I went to Santa Fe and Taos, New Mexico.
Fun.
She loves that area, so went down there for her birthday, and we actually were flying home through SeaTac Memorial Day, and boy, was it packed.
Was it?
There were large crowds, and of course they still have some construction going on. The north, the north gate and the extended gates that they have, they've got a new facility, and it's just gorgeous. But yeah, it was very, very busy, and so that is encouraging.
Did you bring me back any, wallabies or anything from Arizona, New Mexico?
No, of course, Jane loves the Southwest look, so she got quite a few items.
There's some turquoise and silver and some
Absolutely.
stuff like that. All
Absolutely.
right. John Cooper, thanks for your time. Good to see you this morning. Keep on keeping on, and we look forward to our ongoing regular chats on all things tourism and visitors, and just making the most of our natural resources here in the Yakima Valley. So
Yeah, invite your friends and family to come visit.
come see. You got it.